thank you for taking part in this digital drop-in from Google and Parent Zone. My name's Chelsea, and we've also got our online safety expert Tim in the chat box too. Now, we'd love for you to say hello, let us know where you're watching from today, so please do introduce yourself in the chat box. Don't be shy. Now, Tim and I are part of a team in charge of Be Internet Legends. Now, this is a programme designed by Google and Parent Zone to help families become savvier, safer, and more confident online. Over the last few weeks, we've been asking parents and carers what topics they'd like us to cover in these digital drop-ins, and protecting personal information was one of the top answers. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, this drop-in is one of several that we're doing, including sessions on cyberbullying and sharing carefully. And we're always interested to hear what topics or subjects that you'd like us to cover in the future. So if you've got any thoughts or suggestions, please pop them in the chat box. Now, the plan for this session is to talk about how we teach children to protect their personal information. Now, this includes understanding why internet safety is so important and the practical steps they can take, building mega strong passwords, the foundation of really good internet security, and developing helpful routines, including checking and updating their privacy settings. Now, we want the next 15 minutes to be as useful and as practical as we can possibly make them. And we know that some of the best ideas are going to come from you, sharing your thoughts and opinions and advice parent to parent. So if you've got any top tips or words of wisdom, do pop them in the chat box and I'll share them with everybody as we go along. Also, if you have got any questions, pop them in that chat box. Tim is waiting and I'll keep looking there too. And remember, there is no such thing as a bad question. Now, before we go any further, I just want to check that everybody can see me okay. Now, if I do look a little bit blurry, I recommend refreshing the page on your phone, tablet or computer. You'll also notice a little cog in the bottom right hand of your screen. So if you click on that and select quality, you can change that there too. And don't worry about missing anything because you can always watch this conversation back later. So as I said, Tim and I are part of a team that's been teaching an internet safety programme called Be Internet Legends in schools across the UK for about 4 years now. Some of you might have heard about it already from your children, or perhaps you've already attended another one of our digital drop-ins. Now, we deliver really fun interactive assemblies like this, and then teachers follow up in the classroom with lessons that are part of a full curriculum. And throughout the pandemic, we've been supporting schools and teachers and children and families from afar using the power of tech. Now, Be Internet Legends teaches children 5 really important safety pillars, a mixture of skills and behaviours that cover the most important things for children to remember whenever they go online. Now, this includes being sharp, being alert, being secure, being kind, and being brave. Now, if you wanted to find out more about all those 5 pillars, do check out Google's parent page. Now, Tim's going to pop the link in the chat box for that. Tim's also just popped the teaching resource for Be Internet Legends as well, if anyone's interested in having a look at that. Now, the programme covers a lot more than protecting personal information, but like I said, that is what we're going to be concentrating on today. I'm going to explain what we teach children about so that you can apply the same approaches at home if you think that would be useful for your families. So, let's get started. How can we make sure children understand how to keep private stuff private? What do we need to teach them about the tools that they can use? and the behaviours that we want to encourage. In Be Internet Legends, this is all covered in the Be Internet Secure pillar. So that's what I'm going to focus on for the next 10 to 15 minutes. As I've said, the whole programme covers 5 pillars, so do check those other ones out when you've got the time, or feel free to join another one of our digital drop-ins. Now, when we're teaching children to be internet secure, the first thing we encourage them to think about is what's personal and what should be kept private. Now, this might sound really obvious, but in a world where children are used to sharing lots of information and seeing their favourite celebrities share lots of things online, it's really important that we explain what we mean. Now, there are some important things that every child should know. Now, this includes never sharing their private contact details with strangers or anyone they don't know offline, and that includes messaging apps. Never sharing pictures of themselves that give away personal information, like where they live, their home address, or their school, what school they go to. And never sharing their password with anybody other than you if you feel it's important for you to know that information. And that's, of course, a decision for you to make as a family. Now, we talk about passwords in the Be Internet Legends Assembly because they are the first building block of really good internet security. So it's an important topic for children to understand. We want to teach them how to create a strong password and why they're so important. Unfortunately, children sometimes share their passwords as a sign of friendship, and this can often cause problems. We encourage them to think about why that's not a very good idea by giving them an offline example that they can relate to. Now, in the assembly, we say in your house, you lock your front door and then you have your key to lock it and open it back up. Now, you wouldn't give the key to your house to just anybody, would you? No? Well, this is exactly the same as your passwords. Now, it's a really straightforward message, but one that you can reinforce at home. Now, you might be surprised to find that your child has already shared one of their passwords. And if they have, you can help them and you can work together to create a new super secure one. If they've had a Be Internet Legends assembly, they'll already have learned some really important tips and tricks when it comes to making super secure passwords. Now, this includes things like picking a unique word or phrase that's tricky to guess. So definitely not the name of your family pet or your sports team, because that is just too easy. Making sure your password has 8 characters or more. Making sure your password has a mixture of lowercase letters, uppercase letters, numbers, and symbols. We also talk to children about how you can swap out letters for numbers or symbols that look similar. So, for example, changing an E for a 3, because a 3 kind of looks like a backwards capital E. And an S and a 5 could be swapped because they look the same too, and this might help them remember their password easier. Now, I'm sure you have some tips and techniques and thoughts of your own, or if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat box. Tim is waiting and I'll have a look there soon. Finally, on passwords, we remind them, as tempting as it is, it's really important to avoid using the same password for lots of different accounts. In the same way you don't use the same key for your front door and your car. And we tell them that it's a really good idea to make sure they're changing their passwords often. Now, this is really difficult, I know, but it's a habit we should all be getting into. Now, that is quite a lot on passwords, but like I say, they are the first foundation of really good internet security. So it's really important that children think about them carefully. Now, for more tips on passwords, Google's Be Internet Legends parent page. There's more info there, including information about a password manager that you might find useful. And Tim's going to pop a link for that in the chat box if you did want to check it out. So, if strong passwords are a good starting point for online security, what are the other things that we need to teach children? Here are some more important messages. They should log out of applications or devices, especially if they're using a shared computer or device, because just closing the browser isn't enough. We don't want anybody to go onto that device or computer and access all their personal information. They also need to make sure that their privacy settings are what they want them to be, and make sure they check them and update them from time to time. Now, this is something that you could help your children with. So maybe you do it at the start of each term, check all their security settings, make sure they're all up to date, help them out, maybe like you would check their school bag on the first day of term. And another thing lots of children forget is having their devices set to auto lock. So if they get lost, people can't access their information. Now, most websites or apps have these settings under the My Account or Setting option. From here, you can change things like what information is visible on your profile, who can view your posts, photos, videos, and any other content you share, and what content you want to see when you visit. Now, I find it really amazing how children seem to be able to learn technology so quickly. They can pick up any device and seem to be able to use it on the click of a finger. But it's really important to remember that children aren't always great at using the tools and settings that are designed to keep them safe. Now, research suggests that quite a big proportion of children will share their passwords with somebody else or forget to auto-lock their device. And considering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is still one of the most common passwords used by people on the internet, it's really important that children understand the importance of good internet security now. And finally, there's one more thing that crops up a lot in Be Internet Legends, and that's reminding your children to come and talk to you if they're ever worried or confused or unsure about anything. It's the final part of the Be Internet Legends programme, and it's called Be Internet Brave, When in Doubt Discuss. Now, it can be really hard for children to talk to you about something that's happened online, especially if they've broken a rule or done something they've been asked not to do. But it is so important. Now, if you can get them into the habit of talking to you about what they're doing online, it'll be easier for them to be brave and come to you if they do have a problem or something goes wrong. Now, working together to do things like creating those mega strong passwords or looking through their privacy settings can be a really good way to get conversations started. Now, I hope that was useful. I've really enjoyed chatting with you all today. Now, Google's Be Internet Legends parent page has loads more really useful information on this subject, and Tim's going to pop a link for that in the chat box now, along with a link to the Parent Zone website where you can find even more useful information. But that's not all. If you did find this useful or interesting, why not come to another one? Now, we're doing digital drop-ins all throughout the term, covering subjects from cyberbullying to sharing carefully. Now, Tim's going to pop a link in the chat box for the full timetable, and please do share the timetable with your friends if they'd like to join us in the future. Now, Google, Parent Zone and Aardman are inviting you to embark on the Legends family adventure. Now, this is a 3-part animated series that follows a family of internauts on...
Here's the top search result.
Sorry, that's my Google talking to me on my phone. Back to the Legends family adventure. Now, it follows a family of internauts on an adventure through Interland. And it's a really great series. Each episode's about 3 minutes each, and there's some activities you can do after it. I encourage you to watch this with your children because, it can be a great way to open up some of those conversations about things we've been talking about today. And you can also take part in the Legends Family Challenge. Now, this is an opportunity for you to test your online safety knowledge as a family and win some really exciting prizes for your child's school. Now, Parent Zone's Parent Hub has loads of really fun, free family activities designed to do together. Now, there's something for every pillar of the